and welcome to episode 337 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, creator of the comic Black, and joining me as always is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And the writer, and, well, there's so many different names for him, but we call him Tony Esmond.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
I've been going with a hello recently. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Civilized.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast the other day where like each host had their like own 20-second intro clip of music, and after like the third one, I was like,
Yawn.
I just turned it off.
Really? Why?
It's like, yeah, look, here he is, the man with the plan, and then like did it like music for like 10-15 seconds, and then they'd come in, and it's like, oh man, fucking hell, come on.
I was going to get through the door with that ego.
Yeah. Mind you, it's usually probably only about 15 seconds before people press stop on this one.
Yeah.
So, but if you're still listening, thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Are you almost there?
As we record now, December is in full swing. Christmas shopping is well underway, or well, lots of people probably already done it. But if there's a couple of gifts you need to get for the wannabe or future comic book fan in your life, then stay tuned because. We're joined by Reg from Destination Venus this week to run through a fun little exercise and recommend an awful lot of different types of books for case studies. I completely forgot the word, but Tony said that. We created a fun little exercise. And by doing so, we recommended a shit load of books.
Hell of a lot.
That you can go forth and you can order from your local comic book store. And definitely, I think if any of our episodes has a moral of the story, this week it is support your independent comic book store. Go forth and order gifts from them and get everything, because that's what this show's all about. And they are fighting the good fight, especially in these times. They need all the help they can get, and because they love comics just as much as the rest of us. You know who else loves comics?
Comic House.
Yes, our lovely sponsor. And if you didn't know about Comic House, well, let us enlighten you. They're in
a lovely a subscription to Comic House. That'd be a lovely gift too.
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, it would be. It would be, wouldn't it?
The gift that keeps on giving. But what
can I get on Comic House?
Wow. I mean, if you go on comichouse.com, you'll see a huge selection of titles on there. If you actually make comics yourself and you self-publish, you can list your book on there as well. It's another avenue to start selling it straight away. They have an app, a digital app, which is being added to all the time. New books are always turn up in the featured section. It's another avenue for you to get your books out there and to a whole new audience all over the world. Only £3 a month, you get access to an enormous library. Enormous. What is enormous?
Enormous.
Oh, that's enormous.
Enormous and enormous.
Yes, but their library of digital indie comics are both of those words, and it's being added to all the time. What's on there at the moment, Dan?
Well, we've got Frank the Writer's books are back on this. Someone said this week they've done a cover.
He owes us some money, Frank the Writer. We give him a bit of advertising every week.
Good. We've got Sins of Prey, issue 1. We've got The Cosplayer That Doomed the Earth, issue 3. We've got Psy, Superhuman Crime Investigators, volume 2, issue 1, Royal Rumble. And we've got Glass City, The Story of a Missing Girl 2, which I'm going to read the synopsis out to right now. Detective Gabriel Gatti is mourning the loss of his baby daughter 5 years ago. As he stumbles onto a case that mirrors his own, he delves deeper into an already dark city. Only this time, everything you think about, about the city is about to change. Set in a cyberpunk-style future Glasgow. There you go.
Nice.
I'll say.
Like Glasgow.
That's a terrifying place, if cyberpunk Glasgow.
Yeah, deep fried Mars bars and motorbikes.
Yeah. But with
microchips. A bit more motorbikes if it comes to cyberpunk. Anyway, all that and more. Only £3 a month subscription service. There's a 14-day free trial and loads more to discover if you just go to comichouse.com. There you go.
I thought we was going to turn another listenership against us there, T.
Who's that?
Well, we as we'll find out, readers will find out in a second. Listeners find out in a second.
Yeah, it seems like my co-hosts for their Christmas gift is to cut our listership.
A gift of hate.
Listen, I like that country. You know, I love that country. I'm going there in January to buy a fucking suitcase full of books. So,
what's the mystery?
Furious backpedaling by Tony.
Furious backpedaling. What is he backpedaling from? Well, we'll find out. I mean,
my back was put up by an imaginary person that I created
an
in my own
imaginary
head.
person that he created. So, as always, Tony is his own worst enemy. So, But, yes, we're going to talk about giving some comics as gifts right now. We're just going to get stuck straight into it. So, get your pens and pads ready, or your wish lists or whatever, and get ready to add some great books as gifts as we talk to Reg from Destination Venus. Okay then, Christmas is just around the corner in a lot of ways. We're all feeling Christmassy here, aren't we, guys?
I love Christmas, mate.
Yeah, I really like Christmas.
Yeah.
I work in retail, so I don't.
Yes, we are joined by Reg from Destination Venus once again. Not since episode 76. Can you believe that?
Fucking hell.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah. It doesn't feel like
I think you were in the old shop then, weren't you, Reg? I think.
I was, yeah.
And obviously we're going to be talking about comics and graphic novels and everything like that as sort of gifting people, or which I think. I mean, obviously it's topical because it's the time of giving and giving gifts. I think everyone listening to this and us.
I like giving.
Everyone's you're quite good at receiving.
No.
But no.
Jesus, come on.
Come on, for God's sake.
Sorry. We're recording on a different night, so all bets are off. No, we're talking about gifts, of course. Tony loves receiving gifts. But I think even though we're doing this around Christmas, comics and graphic novels as gifts are the evergreen, aren't they? No matter when you get them, you're always pleased to get them. So,
plus over Christmas, if you're a bit bored, something to read, isn't it? There's shit on telly.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful gifts. And I mean, before we get, we've got a fun sort of little exercise that we put together for this to talk about what to get for people that maybe aren't like us, the people that are sort of not necessarily within the inner circle that are easy to shop for, because that's always like, who do you get?
Yeah.
What comics gifts do you get for the people that don't really know comics and graphic novels?
I'll put it on the Slack as well. So I'll give a few shout outs from what people on the Slack said for those who didn't say, it depends what they like.
So basically, this could possibly be a useful tool to use for getting gifts for people and love. So,
or just know.
Yeah,
or don't even like.
Speak of
do you
knowing
get this,
and loving,
Reg?
Yeah,
like people coming in and saying, "I want a book for little Timmy. He likes BMXs or something."
Yeah. Have you ever had anyone saying, I want to get a comic for somebody who likes light Parisian bondage?
So far, not had that one.
No. You'll be receiving a letter soon, my friend.
Book.
Yeah.
We've got an area in the back.
Yeah. Got lots of books on heavy Parisian bondage, but not the light stuff. So.
Yeah, funny enough, not this. I like.
Anyway, we're talking about gifts as Christmas. Let's stop getting in this road already. Because obviously, since '76, we'll start off with some shop stuff, because it's about time we caught up with you. Obviously, we were all at Thought Bubble nary a month or so ago, but we were all so busy that we didn't get a chance to talk, did we?
I don't think I even saw you, Reg.
Yeah.
No, I saw you briefly. I ran past because I was late for the panel I was hosting.
Ah, right, okay.
How was your Thought Bubble experience, like from a sort of from the shop side?
Honestly, from a business point of view, it was the best Thought Bubble I've ever been to.
Oh, that's good.
That's great.
Nice, brilliant.
I took more on the Saturday at Thought Bubble than I did in the whole of April.
Bloody hell. That's good.
That's fantastic.
I mean,
yeah.
Partly that's because April was a terrible, terrible month, but even so.
April 1936, you mean?
We were closed for the whole of April because everybody else opened on April the 12th, but we're in a cinema, and cinemas didn't open until May, so I was still doing mail order and deliveries in April.
Yeah, because I mean, we've mentioned your store quite a few times, obviously,
and I appreciate it
since the lockdown and everything, because and yours is one of the few stores I actually follow on Instagram and stuff like that. But since we spoke to you a few years ago now, you've changed premises, haven't you? Is that right?
That is right. Yeah, we used to be in a lovely, cute little Victorian shopping arcade.
Yeah, it's really nice there, man. I'm not saying it isn't nice where you are, but I like that place when I come to visit you. Yeah, it's a nice.
I liked it too. Yeah. But I mean, you've been there, Tony.
Yeah.
We were upstairs. An awful lot of people didn't know there was an upstairs. And if people did venture upstairs, on one side I had a shop that sold tweed jackets. I was facing the most expensive
That's what got me upstairs. That's why I ventured upstairs. Yeah.
And on the other side of me was a Victorian tea room, a very good Victorian tea room. But the Venn diagram of our customers was basically 3 separate circles on 3 different bits of paper.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of overlap. So footfall was a real problem. Whereas now, people have to walk past me to get to the lift in the cinema. So,
oh man, especially in the cinema that's going to show something that's comic related, as almost every movie is these days. You know, whether superhero or not, there's generally a comic connection, isn't it? So it's an ideal place to be, isn't it? I would think.
Well, yeah, you'd think. Although, actually, the superhero movies don't sell me any more comics.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
And I think that's because everyone in Harrogate who wants superhero comics is buying them from me anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And so the people who come to see the Marvel movies because it's just the blockbuster that's out this weekend aren't interested. Where I do score is if there's a weird, like, international foreign language art house movie or something.
Right, there is also a graphic novel, you mean, or a Bond destination?
No, just any sort of weird.
Okay.
I'm not going to call them pretentious.
Let's say art house.
No, open-minded cinema goers.
Absolutely, because what happens then is that all the people who like the weird art house indie stuff, who've read about comics in the Guardian, sort of walk past me and see that I'm there, and then I can sell all the indie graphic novels.
Yeah,
you've become so middle class since we knew you first.
Yeah. Does that affect your sort of window display as well? You know, since discovering, you know, if it's not all superheroes, have you tailored the way you sort of showcase the shop?
The stuff I display now, I'm just thinking back to what I've got on display at the moment. I don't think I've got a single cape.
Okay.
Wow.
So what if you give us a like a general heads up? What would be your front of shop books?
Let's see, what have I got at the moment? I've got some stuff that I picked up at Thought Bubble.
Right.
The names of everything I'm blanking on.
Right.
So sorry to all the people I got stuff from at Thought Bubble because I can't remember any of it's called at the moment.
Yeah, he's not in the shop at the moment, so that's the reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I've got a lot of Vault stuff.
Okay.
Paul Cornell's I Walk with Monsters is out at the moment. Gideon Falls. What else have I got out at the moment? Oh, I've got Fraser Campbell's Alex Automatic. That's out.
Okay.
Bunch of stuff like that.
That's quite a small press as well, man. A lot of that, isn't it? You know, sort of. Alex Automatic, I'd class as small press. Would you? It's nice to get that in front of. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I've been trying to push that over the last couple of years. Over the last couple of years. In the last couple of years before lockdown, and then nothing happened, and now I'm doing it again. Because it's something it's something that I've always been into.
Yeah.
But it's something that until I took over the shop never did. So I've been trying to sort of get people into the idea that it doesn't need a big publisher's name on the cover to be good.
Yeah. And also I think books by people like Drawn and Quarterly and Fantagraphics and these sort of people are almost ideal for a cinema. Is it an everyman cinema you've got, isn't it? Which
it is an everyman cinema, yeah.
Does show a lot of art house stuff, doesn't it? It does show that sort of thing. I think maybe, you know, the Fantagraphics crowd, the same people as we see on the front counter, you know, the front of the shop in Gosh, for example, where I shop, is that almost that fodder, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. We get a very high class of intellectual customer.
You're so middle class, Reggie. What's happened?
We got the old Spider-Man film coming out. Is that this weekend? Next
15th,
weekend?
is it or something?
No, it's next weekend, I think.
Yeah. So, you got anything planned for that, or like you said, like the superhero mob already buying?
I'll do a big Spider-Man display. But for all the good it'll do me, but I'll do it just to sort of be part of it. Thing.
Yeah.
And actually, to be fair, the only superhero movie that I have sold stuff off the back of was Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Right.
When I had a stream of extremely excited sort of 10-year-olds coming bouncing out of the lift, demanding comic speech.
That's good though, man.
That's amazing. That's what we want to hear.
Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And that's a line of movies that actually likes comic books. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Involves comic book artists. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And considering like when it's the making of, they say, "Oh yeah, when we base the Kingpin on Sienkiewicz's Kingpin," you think, "Oh right, so they know,
bang on.
They know what they're talking about." But of course, I mean, one thing about your shop and the way you sort of promote stuff as well that I love. I mean, on your Instagram, like pics of the week and stuff, it's always comics are front and center, aren't they? You're always
you got to work it, man, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's I mean, social media is not as effective as it used to be, I don't think. But you as you say, you've got to work it. And to be honest, I want to shout about the stuff I like.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't an accident that I bought a comic store. I really like comics.
Good man.
And
that's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
I want to tell people about the stuff I like, because there is still a tendency for people, even people who read comics, to kind of think that it's basically superheroes, and there might be the odd horror comic or whatever, but that's basically all there is, and that's not been the case for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I like to shout about it. Also, massive show off. So
I think I do enjoy, and there's a lot of shops I follow that American shops that do the whole Instagram stories and stuff of new books. I know the guy Alex at Strange Apparitions does the same. New stuff he's got in. I think you got to do the amount of times I see stuff on Instagram and I contact the shop and say, "How much is that Eerie magazine?" It's like that. I think you've got to do it. Yeah.
I don't do Instagram stories just because I don't understand how they work.
We were just discussing that before the bloody show.
Yeah, we were literally just saying.
I was 50 last week. It's
congratulations.
There are times when you just kind of have to go, do you know what?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
I get that when they started saying this week about the Kickstarter stuff, saying, "Oh, fuck Kickstarter." I was like, "Oh no, we don't have to start all this again, looking for another platform to fucking throw comics."
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just waiting for my VHS player to fail, because then I just won't have any pornography to watch.
It's gonna come back around in VHS, but anyway.
But it's the quality of the film. It's crap. It's grainy.
I've watched that porn so much; it is really bad. Then.
Yeah, it gets chewed up by the player.
It's like trying to look at someone outside your window in a snowstorm.
Do the tracking,
it's a bit
Dan.
like a snowstorm.
Sort of the tracking, Dan. Oh, unbelievable classic days. Probably there's a lot of our listeners that don't know what we're talking about. You don't know how lucky you got it. But anyway, back to the comics, and obviously. You are no stranger to recommending stuff to people who step through your doors.
It's what makes us better than Amazon.
Hey.
And the browsing facility in a shop. That ability to
the
browse
fact
and
that you
find
can look
things.
through a book and see.
Yeah, especially with comics. Sometimes a browse is essential.
You can't look through a long box on Amazon. Let's put it that way.
No, you can't.
Absolutely.
So obviously we're going to give you lovely people a list of things to look up, but please support your local indie store. Go in and I mean, if Destination Venus isn't local to you, find your local store and if they don't have it, get them to order it in. I mean, Reg, like for instance, if someone came to you, someone heard something on this show, and your store doesn't have it in, you could get it in for them, yeah?
Absolutely. I can get it in, and if they're not going to be passing through Harrogate again for a few weeks, I can have it posted straight to their house. It's not a problem at all.
There you go. Yeah. And these are the sort of services that so many comic stores having to not only implement but be good at. I mean, is that something has that been a real sort of learning curve for you over the past couple of years to really sort of intensify the sort of mail orders sort of thing?
It's been a very steep learning curve, because I basically before the lockdowns started, I barely had a website, let alone a mail order business.
Right then. Without further ado, obviously you're no stranger to recommending books, as we said, and we're going to recommend some stuff to you now, but in a different kind of way.
Yes.
Because we have what's the word? The word escapes me. What the examples we've got? What are they called?
Case studies.
Case studies. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And that's as highbrow as I'm going to get for the next hour. Yes, we basically thought up a couple of examples of possible. These are imaginary people, but are good examples for different kinds of people from all walks of life.
They're all a bit diverse.
Yeah, a bit diverse.
Yes.
So you may know someone like this, and it'll just give you a good idea. And then we'll get sort of recommending some different things. There's 4 case studies. God, I love that. And we're going to read one each. And I'm going to kick off first. Not kick off like I normally do with a rant, but I'm going to kick off this whole experiment.
You're getting a reputation, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Hopefully a nice one. And the first one we kick off with is Brian. He's 35 years old. He's a family man with 2 kids aged 12 and 10. Used to read comics when he was a student and really loved all the Vertigo stuff, as well as following 2000 AD for a while. What with work and kids and zero time, he drifted away. He mentioned to you that he'd love to get back into the hobby, now that the kids are a bit older, and he fancies an ongoing that he can get his teeth into. Not capes or superheroes, but something with a bit of depth. With that in mind, what do you get, Brian?
Yeah, good question. Should we go with the expert first, B?
Yeah, well, I think, let's start with the expert every time until he's got to read out the last one. Reg, what do we get, Brian?
Why don't you let me go first, because I'm fairly sure that at least one of you will have the same one that I've got.
Okay.
If we have, we're
me,
chipping.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, I could go on all night, actually, because I've got more than one recommendation, but I'll
That's fine, man.
I'll keep myself in check. The obvious thing to recommend, particularly now, is Saga.
Yeah.
It's
because he's back now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's back in January, and it's been the go-to recommendation at Destination Venus since issue 1 of Saga came out, pretty much.
Yeah, which if you've got, I think it's worth a few quid, isn't it?
Few, yeah.
Yeah, I've got one.
Thank you to Darren that used to own Destination Venus for making me buy it all those years ago. Because I mean, for a start, it's brilliant. I'm guessing that most of the people listening to this don't need Saga explaining to them.
So it's Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples off the top of my head.
That's right. Yeah. One of my former members of staff used to describe it as Romeo and Juliet collides with Star Wars, but with a dirty mouth and a filthy mind.
There's a fantasy element almost in space to it as well, to me. You know, I think it's an easy sell to a fantasy fan as well, because there's a little bit about them, isn't there? You know, something there.
Yeah, it's certainly science fantasy rather than science fiction.
Yeah, okay.
And it's got this huge, expansive world, and the characters are so beautifully constructed, and it will break your heart at least twice in every story arc. And it's just.
And you don't need to read anything else, I think, as well, which is a good thing. I think to recommend to somebody like Brian, you need something that he doesn't think, I'm not going to read Blackest Night because I have to read about 84 different titles, you know, or House of Exercise. But that it's just one comic you can read it, and I think Image do that so well. I think.
Yeah. I think a lot of choices for this one are potentially a lot of Image books, because, you know, with that mention of Vertigo, in a lot of cases, there's a lot of stuff coming out from Image Comics which are the new Vertigo.
Yeah, totally. Utterly. Yeah.
I mean, I need to give a shout out to Aftershock and Volt as well.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. They're very much.
Yeah, they're good go-tos, aren't they? Don't last that long though. Generally, some of them do, don't they? But not ages. They tend to be more mini-series-ish. Do they?
I think that's the way they've structured their business model. Yeah. Because they're not big companies. They don't want to commit to a massive sprawling ongoing. So they're pretty sure they can get 5 issues out. So if they need to go past 5 issues, they'll do another series later on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because can I be cheeky and sneak in a second recommendation?
Of course,
yeah.
I mean, this is we're just churning them out on this one. So
because the other one I would recommend is a Vault book, and that's Money Shot.
Oh yeah,
Sarah Beattie, Tim Seeley, and a couple of artists.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about this one.
This is the saucy, sexy, hilarious sci-fi epic.
Yeah.
One.
I'll be honest with you. I very nearly didn't get it in, which is a joke they'd use in Money Shot. Because I read the description in previews, and I don't think I've ever rolled my eyes harder. It was. If people who don't know, the premise of Money Shot is there's a team of scientists that have developed a really powerful teleportation beam that can send them anywhere in the galaxy. But it's really expensive to run, and because they live in a country that has an anti-science president who doesn't remind you of any presidents that the US has ever had, they've got no funding. And they think they're going to have to pack it all up. Particularly because humans have had contact with aliens, and the aliens took one look at Earth and kind of went, "Yeah, no thanks." And then the leader of the team has this idea that what they could do is, if they travel around the galaxy and make porn with aliens, they can fund their project by selling the porn.
Yeah.
And honestly, there are so many ways that could be just ridiculous and offensive and misogynistic and terrible. But it isn't. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's very well written.
I was almost put off by listening. John Suntress is a buddy of ours. And her and Tim Seeley went on Word Balloon and did an interview.
I remember the episode.
She was so off with him. And I almost didn't read it.
Okay.
Yeah, but because I always genuinely thought she was quite funny from her Instagram posts and stuff like that, and I was so put off it. But when I did read it, I think Vince recommended it, and I got the first trade, and I really liked it. So I'm glad I did. Yeah, but that's a good shout, man. Yeah, definitely. Can I go next with mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure, yeah.
It kind of runs a little bit parallel with what Reggie was saying. Is I would go with the Bprd Hardbacks, the sort of the library editions. I think that's a good series of, and plus, to do Reggie a favour, they're pretty addictive. So he'd buy one and then he'd keep wanting to buy them, and there are quite a few of them now. And it's a nice sort of range of science fiction, fantasy, horror. It's not quite superheroing, but it almost is, I suppose, isn't it? At the end of the day,
superhero adjacent.
Yeah, I think so. But the characters are great, and there's that. If he's a horror fan, or if he's into that, if he's into Vertigo stuff, I think it's adjacent to Vertigo stuff as well. In a way, you could see it as a Doom Patrol, adjacent almost. So I'd get him that, and obviously as a little one, I'd throw in, as a worthy mention, I'd throw in a copy of Spacewarp as well. Just as a little.
I'll put that too.
Yeah, oh, good man. Yeah.
I said that a good shout would be like Spacewarp, because we know a lot of people on that. But generally, that's a great. If you've been read 2000 AD and then you come back to it and pick up Spacewarp, it's
2000
like
AD, circa 500 or something, isn't it? It's that. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and some excellent design work on it.
Yeah,
you just say yes to your own design work.
Yeah, always.
It's fact.
No, very, very honoured. I think with this one, it's whenever I think of a lot of series, it's like, immediately loads of collections come to mind. But if it's someone who also wants to get into the ongoing, I'm probably going to mention some series now that are finished. This is what's going to happen. But I obviously, like you say there, I immediately think of some stuff like someone can get a couple of trades and get a flavour for things. And like you say, Reg, I immediately thought of the likes of Vault. The two that sprung to mind for me were The Plot, which is a fantastic sort of horror book anyway.
Good shout.
And These Savage Shores.
Oh, I love that, man.
Oh, yes.
Because that's absolutely phenomenal. I think that's got they feel very sort of Vertigo made by Image. There's something that's the beauty of what Vault does as well.
There's a couple of people who grasped that, what Vertigo should have been and went running with it, and I think definitely Vault were one of them. For those people who don't know, These Savage Shores is basically
2 centuries after the first European ship sailed to the Malabar coast and made landfall at Calicut, the East India Company seeks to secure its future amongst the lucrative Silk Route in the year 1766. So we're talking a historical series here, which is always good.
And that art, who did the art in that? Fucking hell, it's amazing.
Oh, hang on, I'll
in front of you.
Yeah, I'll bring it up right now because.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful.
This is. I mean, the cover of the trade is one of my favourite covers. Anyway,
I even bought a T-shirt. This guy likes so much. Yeah.
But basically, on this, an old evil now sails aboard a company ship, hoping to make its home in this newfound land, and it's kind of like a historical vampire sort of book as well. But obviously, anyone who's read Ram V's work knows that Ram's a master.
I see they've just extended his Swamp Thing run, haven't they, to 16 issues now as well.
I will murder the name. Apologies. Sumit Kumar.
Oh, cool.
Is the artist, and the art's absolutely fucking phenomenal on that. I know there's a collected edition of. So that's the Savage Shores, and the plot is basically when Chase Blaine's estranged brother and sister-in-law are murdered, he becomes guardian to Mackenzie and Zach, the niece and nephew he hardly knows. Seeking stability for the children, Chase moves his newly formed family to his ancestral home in Cape Augusta, which overlooks a deep black bogland teeming with family secrets. This is another one that I think will transcend a lot of people who you can immediately sell it on there. Do you like Stephen King stuff? This is for you.
Right, gotcha.
Do you like their House on Haunted Hill on Netflix? Not Haunted Hill, the Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. This is for you. Do you like their horror stuff from Vertigo? This is for you. The plots are just a brilliant series as well. Very much in the character horror, which is always good. This one's written by Tim Daniel and Michael Morisi, art by Joshua Hickson, coloured by Jordan Boyd, and it's another, just a nice sort of character story, which I think people who, Brian, for want of a better word, seems to be a character that wants story, that wants to get involved in a
It's got to be a bit more sort of adult, I think, for Brian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somehow.
It
needs to be a bit more depth to it.
I'm going to recommend one that I haven't read, but I've heard so much about, and I believe it's still ongoing, but it may just be coming to the end. Tony, you might have to correct me on this. Ice Cream Man.
Oh yeah, that is good. I read the first.
Yeah.
I read the first 3 or 4 trades of that. Loved it, man. Yeah. Isn't that Harris's series?
Sarah Harris is one of her favourite series, isn't it? I've heard so much about it, and it just feels like it's got that, what this person wants. It feels like this is the series that has that. Is it still ongoing, or is it just finished?
I thought it was still going, but Reggie, you correct me.
You've got me on the hop now. No, I'm just trying to think. I don't think the last issue's out, but I equally don't think it's on the current order form for Diamond.
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
I think it must just be ending.
Is it a series that occasionally takes a break? You know how image books sometimes do, don't they?
It hasn't. There was a brief break during the first lockdown, just because everything took a break for a minute.
Yeah.
But no, it's been pretty consistent all the way through, and it has been consistently brilliant.
Yeah. It's a really interesting one as well. It's really different. Yeah. I think,
and also
the things it throws in.
It's still going because Ice Cream Man 28 is going to be available on 26th of January 2022. Apparently, so
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
Did we do you, Dan?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Let me hang it. I've chosen a book that you recommended a little while ago, Vince, and I picked it up and really enjoyed it. That's a Dark Arc.
I love that series.
Oh, brilliant! Yes,
love it. Yeah.
So the quick blurb, it's written by Cullen Bunn, artist John Doe. Letter is Ryan Hill, regular cover artist is John Doe. The wickedness of mankind has moved the creator to destroy the world by the way of the flood. Noah has been tasked with building an ark to save his family and the animals of the world. But this is not Noah's story. The darker powers have commanded the sorcerer Shrey to build his own ark and save the unnatural creatures of the world, such as vampires, dragons, the Naga, and the Manticore. What will happen on a vessel crawling with monsters, where insidious intrigue and horrific violence are the rule of law. And it's
so good.
For me, the premise absolutely sells itself.
Yeah.
As soon as you say, okay, let's fucking go. And
yeah.
It's just brutal as well, man. It doesn't hold back at all. Yeah.
No.
I've loved Dark Arc since it started. Because the premise is so simple, and it doesn't seem to ever have occurred to anybody that bad people can build boats too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got, I feel sorry for it because like the mythical creatures get on there, and the unicorns are on there, and obviously they're under that rule not to kind of kill one another because they're the last surviving creatures of
Yeah.
like Noah's only 2 of each, but
Yeah.
they're essentially good creatures, but they're stuck in with all these baddies as they were.
Murderers,
Yeah.
The moment where the angels land as well on the deck is incredible. Yeah, really
It's
like that. Yeah.
Really well done. I highly recommend it. It's literally one of those books you like, as Brian has been out of the scene for a while, you can say, right, check this out, you like this, and he goes.
Yeah,
good stuff, man.
so good.
I did.
That's on a second series. Isn't it a follow-up?
Yeah, they
series?
did a free comic book day issue as well, didn't they? I think, Reg.
Nice one.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
I did give the nod to Spacewarp too, but also he couldn't go wrong with like some of the Europe titles like Eagles of Rome, Desert Star.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh mate, yeah.
I can fucking
Let's
bang
start
that
off
drum all
with
fucking
these,
day.
and then eventually we'll be like, you like that?
Gateway
Check
drug.
this out.
Yeah.
That's what these
Get
are.
him into that shop.
A lot of these
Yeah.
are gateway drugs. That's what we'll call this episode. No, yes. So that's the first. I mean, there's going to be a massive list, but I think so many titles there that it's a smorgasbord.
Now, the next one is probably a couple who live in Harrogate, I'm guessing. Molly and Jason are parents with 8-year-old twins, a boy called Horace and a girl called Rosemary. They are a little middle class, and Jason is a solicitor and Molly works in PR. They've been hearing about comics for their kids from some of the other parents at the posh private school and want something that will keep Horace and Rosemary quiet and engaged. The kids, though, they like eating dirt and kicking their nanny in the shins.
Sorry.
What are we going to get, Molly? What are we going to get? Horace and Rosemary. I'll go first. So the easy one for me. The easy one for yeah. Push him off a tall building. But the obvious one for me is Hilda. I think that's a good one.
Yes, yeah.
It's a comic. It's got a lot of action. It's quite fast paced. They can also watch the cartoon. There's loads of it now. There's 5 volumes, and then all sort of attached things to that. And the other one I was going to go with is Scotty Young's Wizard of Oz books, which I bought for some friends' kids a few years ago now. I checked, and I think they are still available. And they're really good. Scotty Young's a pro, isn't he? He knows what he's doing, and they're really nice adaptations of the Wizard of Oz. For those that know the Wizard of Oz, it's actually a series of books. But it deals with the next few in the series as well, and they're really nice. I think they're really readable. They're really fun. They've got a bit of energy to them, like these kids seem to have. Same as the Hilda book, and I think they'd be a good choice. So they're my 2 for the 2 of them. I think you need to get them books that they would share as well, and they would swap over in the back of the car on long car journeys when they're off to their posh holidays in the south of France. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my 2.
What would you suggest, Reg?
Well, I'm glad you picked Hilda because that would have been one of my first go-tos.
Yeah. Right.
It's the kicking the nanny in the shins bit that is the real inspiration here.
As I see in your head, you're thinking, I can get the nanny in the shop, couldn't I? That'd be all right, but she's all right.
Yes. It's all right. My wife is never going to listen to this. So I think I'd be looking at the Etherington brothers.
Yeah, good shout, man.
Yeah, good shout.
The Long Gone Don books.
Yeah.
They're not the easiest to get at the moment, but they are out there.
Right, okay.
And I suppose I could always email the Etherington brothers and beg.
Yeah. Availability is a big thing at the moment with comics, isn't it? The amount of comics that we rant quite a lot about it when a new series is out or it's a film or something, and you can't actually get that book at the time. And availability is an issue at the moment with a lot of books, as we've seen with the paper shortage for the mangas and stuff.
Oh, mate, seriously, don't get me started.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
The fact that you can't get Invincible books at the time Invincible goes on to Amazon Prime and is a massive hit.
Yeah.
Is just
and you can't order those big mangas that are coming out. You can't get them because they've just sold out and have been for months and months.
I was struggling to get those fucking Demon Slayer books for my son.
Yeah.
Like when that was big, I just couldn't fucking get them.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man's the same, isn't it? I think they did the same happened with that.
I know it's not great, but like when the chap who made Berserk passed away, like his books, you couldn't fucking get them for love nor money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. We interrupted you, Reg.
Go on, Reg, sorry.
That's all right. I can't remember saying anything interesting. The Long Gone Don books, they're vibrant. They've got energy. I mean, Lorenzo's art is pretty much the most dynamic stuff you're ever going to see in comics. It moves on the page. It's anarchic. It's full of energy, but at the same time, it has that air of respectability. This is not oink.
Okay, right.
So middle class parents won't be upset by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
So I think that's where I'd go. And then when I couldn't get it, I would recommend Hilda.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. I would follow on from that one, Reg, and I would say get them each a subscription to the Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's something that I recommend quite a lot. Actually, I don't stock the Phoenix because I see them every year at Thought Bubble.
Yeah.
And the person I need to speak to about stocking the Phoenix is never on the table.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Right. And we always exchange email. We've exchanged email addresses for like every year for like 6 years now. And neither of us ever emailed the other one back. So at some point I will stock the Phoenix, but at the moment I just point people at the website.
Yeah.
That's got to be a good one to have on a stand at the counter, I'm guessing. If you're the bloke who comes in and buys,
that would be great. I mean, obviously, I had a subscription for a while, and that's just a wonderful series. Like so many great different styles of series and adventures and puzzles and stuff. But Dan, you're a perfect example, isn't it? Because
my son was really into the Phoenix for a while, and then he kind of like moved on to something else. But
I think that's the nature of it. It's designed for kids of a certain age, isn't it? You know, like a lot of things are.
I think it's important to do that actually, because I mean, when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed comics as a kid, but I knew it existed. There was 2000 AD, and it was aimed at. I was 10, and it was aimed at 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And now I'm 50, and 2000 AD is still aimed at me.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
So it's important that there is stuff for the kids.
Yeah.
You should be able to grow out stuff. And I used to be into that.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Accessibility has never been more important.
And actually, on that note, I do have one other one I'd just like to sneakily slip in, if that's okay.
Oh, man,
yeah.
I wouldn't know about these guys if they hadn't been on the table next to me at Thought Bubble.
Oh, I'm interested to hear about this. Go on.
But it's a brilliant series. It's not really a series because all the issues have numbers, but you don't have to read them in order. It's called Dekko.
Yeah.
It's aimed at primary school kids. And they've done something really clever, and I can't believe nobody else has ever thought of it. The comics don't look educational. They look like good, fun kids' comics. And they read like good, fun kids' comics. But the stories are tied into the Key Stage 2 curriculum.
All right, okay.
So there's stuff happening in the story that is something that the kids are going to have to do at school.
Yeah, don't tell the kids that before they read them.
No, never tell the kids that. And they're really nicely done. I picked up a couple of sets to see if they'd sell in the shop. And the reaction's been pretty positive, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to have, because so many parents and grandparents come into the shop and say, "Have you got anything for children?" Because my grandson's 9, and I'm thinking, "Geez, I really haven't. I've got almost nothing I'd put in the hands of a 9-year-old."
Yeah.
So
there's a lot to be said for that. That like we're always talking about being within the comics community bubble, and comics is a serious medium for the people who are coming in off the street, or like the people that don't know about comics that you see at a comic convention, or those free comic convention and stuff. It's always the same. Have you got anything that's suitable for kids? Because a lot of people identify comics as a kids medium.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to...
Comic Hercules.
You've got to be... Oh, God.
I always feel a bit heartbroken or crestfallen when like you get a family come round and they're sort of browsing around and it's like, I've got nothing for you, man. And I feel bad for that. Do you know what I mean? Quite happy.
I used to keep some Springworths under the table, just to give out, that I'd left at all my comps,
Yeah. But yes, that Dekko is definitely a series I want to find out more about. And it's also like, it's like sneaking vegetables to your kids under the form of something else, sneaking knowledge to them in the form of entertainment.
Conning them, basically.
Yeah, conning them into learning.
No, As an ex-teacher, I heartily approve of that.
Yeah, definitely. Dan, what have you got for this one?
Well, I thought, like, if I'm going to go online, I'll take a look online and then see, because there's a couple of things I could suggest, and I think other people said like TinTin and stuff. I'm not really sure if they're great picks for some kids, because some kids seem to take to it like a duck to water, and others not so much. But I went on to Nobrow site, T. I don't know if you've seen this, but they've got like a gift buying guide, and they've done a similar exercise to kind of what we're doing tonight. And there was 2 books on there that I thought would sound great for each one of the kids.
Okay.
Horace and Rosemary. And the one I'd get for Horace off there is one called How to Pick a Fight by Laura Kaminoff. Original and generic, How to Pick a Fight is a graphic novel that bursts from the pages and delivers a sucker punch right to the eyes. Scrappy young Jim is determined to fulfill his dream of being a boxing legend, just like his hero Pimento Gonzalez. He's about to start a fight with anyone or anything that stands in his way.
Yeah.
And that looks great. I've not read it, but from what I saw, looks like it's something.
No, it's good, man. I've read it. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, and the Neve who came to the table while we were chatting on Sunday, she's the editor of that book as well. So.
Nice one. And the book I'd get for Molly is another one from Wild by Emily Hughes.
Okay.
A brand new paperback edition. Emily Hughes' picture book is finally here. Wild is the story of a little girl who's known nothing but nature from birth. Bears taught her to eat, birds to speak, foxes to play. She is unabashed, irrefutably, and irrepressibly wild. That is until one day she meets a new animal that looks oddly like her. I don't know I've not read these ones because
that's more of a picture book from the picture book section rather than the comics bit. But it's still lovely, man. It's still a beautiful book. Yeah.
So
definitely.
I've disappointed one kid there.
I've got some from the Slack, if you're right, V. If I just before I jump in before you, Edison Neo suggested TinTin. Eamon suggested Calvin and Hobbes or Asterisk.
Oh man,
he says he recommends Sandman Game of You to all adults. Bunny versus Monkey, Simon said. Russell said. We've got some more, but I think they're mostly adult ones. Like Ian's recommended The Dark Tower in Ashcroft.
Oh yeah, it's great series.
Interestingly, Gareth Hopkins has said DC did a load of Fortnite tie-ins, which are great for kids who are doing all that sort of thing.
Okay.
Dave Craner said for kids I like 2000 AD Regened, which is every so often 2000 AD put out like a young readers version.
Yeah,
which is pretty good. What was the one that made me laugh from Mark Abnett? Oh yeah, Mark Abnett said gave my missus Fables Volume 1. She absolutely loved it. Then she never picked up another comic.
I lent my wife, Dharma, and she absolutely tore through that. Yeah, because she likes serial killers and stuff like
that. Is that how you met?
Well, no, she just kind of keeps her like ear to the ground and how stuff's done. She keeps looking at me and sort of nodding.
Oh, really? Do you find yourself getting progressively weaker as the days go on?
I don't know. I'm female supposed to poison. That's their.
Yeah, I've accused an ex-girlfriend of that.
I mean, other methods of murder are available
to ladies.
Yeah. I'd say that's just her cooking, though. It's not. Meant.
I mean,
my missus used to come in with a gravy and say 1 lump or 2.
Once again, clearly, their partners do not listen to this show.
Thank God.
Which is why everyone's feeling a little bit confident.
Right, turns around, just checks the door shut.
Yeah. It's like, oh God, what was that noise?
Anyway, V, back to children's comics.
Yeah. Oh no. I suggest the Phoenix was my.
Yeah. We'll let her go on that one, have we?
And that's an ongoing drug you can feed them.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, who's the third case study?
Dan.
That's me. Yeah. Let's scroll down. Caprica. 20 years old, is in their first year of university and studying TV and film at Cardiff University. They identify as non-binary and are feeling a little bit lonely in the new town. They've never really read any comics, but have watched some manga. They found themselves in a comic shop and bravely chatting to staff and to customers at the counter. What advice do you give them?
Cool. I might go first on this one.
Yeah, go for it.
So I actually think that Caprica is I think they are lonely.
Yeah.
They're looking for not just a comic, but maybe a community to be part of.
Yeah.
A world to be part of.
Well,
and I would recommend. Sorry, mate.
Well identified. Yes,
I made the best up, so it's fun. So I would
know that.
I would give them anything by Milmo. I think that's a great,
good. Yeah, good shout.
shout. Or Sian Jefferson.
Yeah,
and maybe Catriona Chapman's book as well. I think anything by her as well. Sensitive.
I think. I mean, for me, I would definitely. Avery Hill came to my mind. Things like Breakwater, or another one was The Impending Blindness of Billie Scott.
Good shout.
I said anything by Tillie Walden on a sunbeam spinning. Yeah. Are you listening? I love this part.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good shout.
Yeah.
What about you, Reg?
Yeah.
I seem to know a lot of Capricas.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And there's a few things I'd recommend for kind of different reasons. I think I know you're right about the wanting a community, Tony, because I know you made up the character, but but you've identified a particular type of person who is looking for a community.
Yeah. Friends almost, isn't it? Yeah.
And honestly, the question wasn't what comics would you recommend, it was what advice do you give them. And the first bit of advice would be hang around comics, because comics is a great place to be. And I would
very
talk to them.
accepting, I think.
I would talk to them about Thought Bubble and the lakes and the cons and all the little gatherings that there are, and possibly point them at some groups on social media and all of that. Because comics, you only had to walk around Thought Bubble. I think they had the world supply of rainbow flags.
I always think about last time at Thought Bubble, not this, the previous one. Someone came to the table who was told me that it was their first day out as a trans person, dressed.
Wow.
And I said, well, and they were really impressed with the acceptance that they had found and the lack of judgment of people at the table. And this person, I'm sorry, but I can't remember their name, but would just stood at the table and like listened to me shamelessly sell books, and stuff, and was sort of almost like joining in. It was quite nice, and that sense of community, I think, is great at Thought Bubble, definitely.
And I think obviously, like you say, sorry to cut you off, Reg. Like the sense of community that could be right under your nose, and you don't know. You just got to look a little bit. And for instance, we looked studying TV and film at Cardiff University. We know the comics community in Cardiff.
It's great, loads.
Is huge, and it's such a wonderfully diverse and accepting community just in that area. So it speaks to no matter where you are, if you search for it, it's there, isn't it? It's definitely
absolutely. I mean, stereotypically, Harrogate, you would not imagine would be quite such an accepting and diverse place.
Yeah.
I am aware of the reputation of my town, but actually, even here, that there is a community of geeks. They're not all comics geeks, but there's a very geeky community here that is just completely open and accepting of literally anyone. The only barrier to entry is, do you want to come in?
Yeah.
And I love that about comics. And
no word of a lie. Comics, I think, genuinely has always been like this. First trans person I ever saw was at a comic convention. Tell you that now.
Yeah, like
completely fitted in, because it was full of punks and the alternative crowd, and no one judged them because they were it was an artistic environment, and nobody was out to have a go at anyone.
Yeah,
and I think it's always been like that. Genuinely, I think
It's why sometimes it's frustrating when you see like some people from from the online community judging other people, and I just think, look, if you like comics, we spend most of our time being judged. Don't bring that shit into
if you're prepared to put your hand in your pocket, I'm going to like you whoever you are. I've got to tell you, unless you're probably really horrible. I
always try and catch myself, like, if someone's having fun and it ain't fucking hurting anyone, just whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that is the attitude in comics.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of, I'd recommend. There's quite a few. I mean, I'd certainly recommend Rachel Smith's work.
Good shout. Yeah.
Wide Up Wrong, Stand in Your Power in particular. Because I think, genuinely, and I hope she's not listening because she gets embarrassed when I say this, I think they are two of the best books on mental health I've ever read.
Okay.
And my wife works in mental health, and, I've read a lot. But they're so straightforward and so simple,
Yeah.
And so absolutely cutting all of the crap.
They're an undercomplicated line as well, I think. You know, sometimes I think recommending a book to someone that is like wildly illustrated, you need to almost like get your eye in, don't you, for some styles. You can't always immediately, you look at the page and think, fucking hell, what is all that going on? But something that's a little bit more straightforward is often a good entry drug, you know, which I think is where manga does so well, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'd agree with Milmo.
Yeah.
NPCT is just not
Heart of Time as well. I think it's a good one.
Heart of Time, brilliant. Also, if we were going to go a bit mainstream, and I sold this to Caprica's grandparents this morning.
Oh, nice.
They came in and they explained, you know, their grand, it was their granddaughter, so not quite Caprica, but they explained, you know, she was at university, she was studying art and design, and she was really interested in checking out some comics, and I'd recommended something for her birthday about 4 months ago, and she loved it. So I recommended Hawkeye.
Okay, cool.
Hawkeye Kate Bishop, the
David Archer one.
There's a brilliant, Kelly Thompson and blanking on the artist. I meant to bring it home, so I wouldn't.
Oh, I know the one you mean. I'm thinking of the Matt Fraction series.
Yes, not the Matt Fraction series. It's the first 12 issues.
Kate Bishop one. Did you say Kate Bishop?
Kate Bishop Hawkeye. I think it started in 2017.
It's not by who's the guy who did the fix? Vince, what's his name again? I read a comic by him today.
Nick Spencer.
No, the artist.
Oh God, yeah, Steve Lieber.
It's not Steve Lieber, is it?
Hang on, I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
It's just occurred to me. If only I had some kind of device in front of me that could give me the information.
This is the one that the same device you can go to and order comics from Destination Venus in Harrogate. There you go.
What kind of Kate Bishop? It is. Oh, it's not Kelly Thompson. I really am off mark here. It's Sean McKeever, with art by Leonardo Romero and Michael Walsh.
Okay. Oh, I like Michael Walsh. Yeah, I like his stuff. Yeah.
It looks great, and there is a brilliant Panini edition that collects all 12 of the issues of the first solo run.
Yeah.
For $11.99.
That's good, man. Isn't that good?
It's such good value.
So that's what trades should be, shouldn't they? They should cost less than the single issues.
Yeah.
It's basically a pound an issue.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah.
And you know, if you buy the Marvel editions, which I also do stock, but I try and talk people out of buying them because they're just not as good value. If you buy the Marvel editions, you get like 4 issues bound together for like 15 quid.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. So, you know, it has the bonus of the Disney Plus series being out now.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah.
It looks great. It's genuinely fun.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, in terms of diversity and representation, you know, it's got that. So, you know, Caprica would be able to see herself, themselves. God, pronouns, Jesus.
Yeah.
50, forgive me. Caprica would be able to see themselves in the characters, and it's not your standard superhero book. It really isn't. So I think if I was going to go mainstream, I think that's where I'd go.
Yeah, good shout, man.
I think there's also a lot to be said about. There's nothing that quite that brings people together quite like comics. It's like music and food and stuff like that. You find someone who likes the same comics you do, and you hopefully you've got a friend for life.
Cling on to them for life and then do a podcast with them.
Yeah, and then it's ruined. But for instance, like someone who's watched manga, do you know what I mean? Dip into that well of like the Tokyo Pops and all of those kind of things, and there's an entire community that I wish I knew more about, but certainly so much to choose from there. Surely.
Yeah.
So yes. So
anyone else?
For those people like that out there, dip your toe in the water because like comics is great. So there you go. I think
comics is the best.
It is. God. That's what this show's all about. I'm feeling the love for comics. I think. Have we all covered that one? I think we
have.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Oh, sorry.
Dan,
I'll do a quick one because we done. I found that this Caprica is quite an easy person to buy for, but I was going to recommend Noel Stevenson's books, Nimona and Lumberjanes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Which is an easy one. Or she went on to do the She-Ra series, which was wildly popular. But Lumberjanes in Nimona, if you want to kind of find out where that kind of that style comes from, go to them.
Cool.
Lumberjanes. Yeah.
And notice nobody has mentioned the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Thank you, Gareth Hopkins, who's trolling me over it.
I felt bad for that. I dunked on him for that, and I've got no strong feelings to.
He sent me a message this week that just was in capitals and said, "You love it."
Okay, the fourth and final case study, and now we're going to hand the mic to Reg.
Reg, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, you see, I think I know Pascal.
Well, I don't think you've seen him. I'll be honest with you.
Pascal is French and is now living in Leeds. He has great English skills and is 25 years old. He's working for a tech firm and the hours are killing him. He used to read a lot of bande dessinée back in France, and he needs something here that he can use to calm down after a stressful day at work. To be honest, he's a bit critical of British and American comics and keeps mentioning how much better comics are in France. He is a little annoying.
He's French, so
I'm not going to put him wrong.
That's not how we feel on this show. Just to say that.
I may be vaguely agreeing with him sometimes, but yeah.
Okay.
As a Harrogatean, I can say that if he's got great English skills, that really makes him stand out in Leeds.
Shots fired.
Sorry, Leeds.
No, I mean this is one that surely there must be a few titles we've got here for Pascal.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I've got one. So to me, we need to show this Frenchman how good we are in Blighty.
No, I didn't think this would be adversarial.
I feel that our patriotic, our amazing British comics are in trouble here. So God. I thought I would choose. I want to show him that I like French comics. I love French comics and Belgian comics, but I think there's a few good British ones as well. That's what I want to show him. I want to prove to him. So I'm going to get him a copy of the collected edition of Martial Law. Yeah. And I'm going to give him that and go, get that in your fucking mush.
What, after a stressful day at work?
Yeah.
You're going to give him
That's
Martial
really calming,
Law?
Tony.
That's high art, my friend.
Calming down. Martial
But
Law.
It's also a little threatening message from me to him. Don't fuck about. You see what I'm saying?
Fucking hell.
Oh dear.
And then if he likes that, or if he turns his nose up at it, I'm going to get him the Simon Davis Pat Mills Slain, which I think is incredible. I think what we're up against is bande dessinée is famously some of the best drawn comics in the world, aren't they? Some of the greatest art and comics at the bid in those comics. So I want to show them that we can go up against the best, and I think Simon Davis's art in those Slain Britannia Chronicle books is fucking pretty much unbeatable. I mean, he is a dude who hangs in the galleries of the world, this dude, and to give him those books and go, there you go, have a look at that. Look at the art in those. I don't think you can go wrong. That would be my little pass over at him. Shots fired at him, There you go.
God. Is anyone going to try and calm him down?
I've got one. I thought this was with this. That's the Vision miniseries, the complete.
Okay.
Good shout.
The Gabriel Water one.
Yeah. I thought he would. Sorry, the Tom King and Gabriel.
Yeah.
They converted this and made the Scarlet Witch TV series out of it. The comics a lot darker, I feel, but I really enjoyed it. I think you guys recommended it, or Sarah Harris recommended it, and as soon as I started reading the trade, I was like, right, order the second one right now.
Did I buy you it, the London Super Comic Con, that last?
You might have done.
I bought one of your Moon Knight, didn't I? And one of your Vision, I think. Yeah. Okay.
You definitely got me a Vision then. Well, as soon as I started reading that, I was like, I've got to get the second one of this because this is fucking ace. And essentially, like the TV show, kind of the Vision sets up this life for himself, where it's like a 1950s, like American nuclear family kind of life, with a wife and 2 kids, and it all starts kind of going wrong, and it's fantastic. It's really well done, and if he's kind of Pascal finished chomping on his onions and drinking his fucking espresso, he can...
My God, it's like I'm watching Rome burn. Listening to
this. This has become like the Brexit episode.
Oh God, go on, Dan.
Yeah.
None of us voted for it.
Takes off his beret and
fucking hell.
just like this.
Yeah, that's you know that Europe Comics will never talk to us again. We'll never get them back on.
I'm having dinner with them in January.
Well, hopefully, currently you are. Maybe that plans may change. Fucking hell.
Good. Any passive aggressive, anti-French rhetoric that you wanted to put in the pot, Reggie, at all, or?
Well, not passive aggressive anti-French rhetoric.
just sort of aggressive.
Like I said, I think I know Pascal. Yeah. I've got a couple of recommendations for Pascal, though.
Yeah.
I think my first one would be Heathen by Natasha Alterishi.
Okay, cool.
Because
a Scout book.
No, it's Vault.
Vault. Yeah. Okay, right.
Because, as you say, French comics are renowned for their art, and there's just something so delicate in the sort of spidery line that Alterishi has. I was gutted that she couldn't finish the art for the whole run.
Okay.
I think volume 3, she had to get someone. I think she had carpal tunnel or something, and she had to get someone else in to do the art. The first 2 volumes just look divine, and I don't actually read a lot of European comics, but my sense of them is that they tend to have quite an epic sweep.
Yeah,
and Heathen is that epic. It's the I might actually recommended this to Caprica as well.
Okay.
It's the lesbian Viking quest story you never knew you wanted to read. It's a young girl who is cast out of her clan for being gay. She's given the choice of marrying a man or being executed, and so she runs away. And she sets out to rescue a Valkyrie who's been imprisoned by Odin in a volcano. And for a lesser series, that would be the plot of at least the first volume. She actually rescues the Valkyrie by the end of issue 1. And then she goes to war with the gods because they're unjust and she doesn't like them.
Yeah, I remember the covers for this being lovely as well, man.
They're just stunning. And I didn't grow up reading comics, but when I got into comics, I was all like in my late teens and kind of, we didn't say woke in the late 80s, but that's what I was. And so I avoided Red Sonja like the plague because the chainmail bikini was just ridiculous.
Looked too painful, didn't it?
And when I first saw the cover of Heathen issue 1, it's got the central character standing there in a fur bikini, which makes even less sense, in the snow. And by the end of the first page, the fur bikini made total sense and was utterly forgiven. It's so beautifully drawn. It's not in the least bit exploitative in that way. It's not sexualized in any way at all.
Okay.
In spite of the fact that there's an orgy with the goddess of love about halfway through.
I'm liking the idea.
Hey
I'm very pro fur bikinis. I'd like to point that out.
And orgies.
Well, I mean, you suit them, Tony.
And orgies, did you just say?
I was going to say you could pull it off, but I'm not.
I'll get away with it, mate. Yeah. Next time I'm in your shop. Yeah, you wait.
Nobody wants to see me in a fur bikini, trust me. So that just for its epic sweep and its mythological thing, I think Heathen can hold its own against the very best of European comics. And I think the other thing I'd probably recommend is I Walk with Monsters.
Yeah.
By Paul Cornell, and again I'm blanking on the name of the artist. Because that's a much smaller, much more intimate, much more claustrophobic book, but the art is so singular. It's it's quite a thick, heavy line, and it's got quite a rich colour palette, and it feels, to me at least, like quite a European book. So I would go with that as well. And it's it's a story about justice and revenge and it's got very strong themes. So I'd happily recommend that as well. I'm not entirely sure how relaxing Pascal would find it, but
I'm not too bothered about him, to be fair.
He drinks too much coffee anyway, so relaxing.
Yeah, I just want to shut him up.
Yeah, I would shut him up with the likes of Monster.
Yeah, good shout.
Oh, good shout. Yeah, very good shout.
Yeah, look at this, mate.
Yeah. And another one, I think the main one, in terms of like when you just want to chill out or calm down, I think this would go for a lot of different topics, actually, a lot of different people. This, I think, you'd be hard pressed to find someone that would disagree and sort of say, well, that's not a very good book. In fact, I think it would be impossible. Across the board, Kingdom by John McNaught.
Yeah.
Get it, give it to anyone. They will love it and they will stare at it. And just staring at those pages takes you to another place. And there's not many books and artists that can do that. And he's one of them.
Do you know, it never occurred to me the other day, but I was watching a documentary on Seth, the comics artist, Great Life You Don't Weekend, and he was going on about how great John is. I thought, oh yeah, I can see there's a similarity between the two there somewhere. Yeah. And he's loved in France. He was on Glen when I was there. Yeah.
Just absolutely just stunning stuff.
I've also point out that Kingdom is produced by Dargard and is available now in France too. If we've got any French listeners.
There you go.
Like we've got any French listeners left.
Yeah.
Please stay with us. Do we have any others? Are we all done?
That's it. All the four people bought for.
Oh my word!
That's good.
What a massive shopping list there. And of course there are a million books we could recommend. Essentially, if you're looking to get that gift of comics for someone in your life, we love you. And good luck with it. And
they will love you too.
Yeah,
if you buying someone a comic for Christmas, you can't go wrong.
Yep.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Yeah, and we hope, no matter what you get, or perhaps you've received a book, and it got you onto the journey of comics, then it's just opened up your world, and it's just amazing because, for the most part, we've stayed away from the capes, and people think it's all big blockbuster movies, but just look a little bit further, and there's so much. This is almost like a kind of best of list that goes beyond the boundaries of a year, doesn't it? This list, so I'm gonna have an absolute nightmare right now, right in the show notes. But it's a nightmare I'm quite pleased about. So
I can send you through mine, Vince. We'll do that after the show.
Yeah. So literally,
I'll send you mine as well.
Yes, it's very kind of you, and thank you for joining us, Reg, to talk about.
Yeah, cheers, Reg.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, good to have you back.
Yes, next time, obviously, we'll get a chance to actually catch up with you in the flesh and talk properly.
And if you got like a tricky relative you want to buy a comic book, go and pop in and see Reg.
Yeah,
and he'll advise you to the correct title.
Everyman Cinema, Harrogate.
Yes.
Yeah, we are actually genuinely quite good at recommendations.
He's quite chatty, Reg. You've heard here, and he will talk your ears off about what comics to read.
Yes.
Actually, if anybody does come in and ask for recommendations, please understand you are allowed to tell me to shut up. Because sometimes that is the only way to stop me. Somebody, one of the guys that works at the cinema, just as an aside, asked me what a really good vampire story was.
Yeah.
And I think I talked at him for about an hour and a half. So you are allowed to tell me to shut up if you can.
He asked.
On you.
We never would though. But where can people find Destination Venus, etc., on like social media and the online, etc., if they want to find out more?
We are on the Facebooks, where we're just Destination Venus. We're at Destination_Venus on Instagram, and we are, and because I messed it up, we are now at Destination Ven1 on Twitter.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
We used to be at DV Comic Shop, but I thought it'd be quite fun to put the day the shop opened as our birthday on our profile, and
okay.
And then Twitter kicked us out because they said we were too young to have a Twitter account when we opened the account. So I had to set it up again. So we're now at Destination Ven 1. And you can also find us online at destinationvenus.co.uk.
Nice work, man.
There you go. Go forth, check them out online, or if you're in the area, definitely pop in and see the shop because you're fighting a good fight, and we love you for it, Reg.
Nice, it's a good fight to be in.
Yeah, and when it comes to Christmas, I think we're all in the same boat. All we want for Christmas is you. Is it anyone? Anyone?
Oh, I thought you were ending it there. I thought that was really...
No. Yeah, I thought that was a sign off.
No. Oh, well.
No.
I guess we'll
Sorry,
just sign off now.
What do you mean?
They've let me down. At least you don't let me down, Reg.
Well, not yet. Give me time.
There you go. Your wish list. Don't blame us for spending money because you're gifting to other people. All right.
Yeah. We didn't say what we wanted, so that's fine.
And Lord knows we've spent enough money on probably most of these books that we've been talking about.
I know, fucking hell. I'm sitting amongst it.
Yeah.
You should do my Christmas tradition, which is to buy myself a graphic novel and then I read it on Christmas Eve.
Well,
there
you go.
Choose your viz,
treat yourself. I always get myself a viz and I wrap that to myself and then open it on Christmas Day.
What moment is that? Is that a private moment you have to yourself, or do you make that a public thing between?
I make it it's like the big show. It's like one of the big things at Christmas Day.
What have I got here? What's this?
How does it go? Like me and Tony are just sitting down. Tony, do you want another mince pie?
No, fuck mince pies.
So we were opening out the presents and go, oh look, here's one
Let's
for
create
me.
the scene. Let's create the scene. Okay, like me and Tony.
Can you do the washing up, please? You haven't done the washing up before.
Oh,
this is Christmas morning. We're opening the presents.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay.
All right. Well, yeah. Tony, Christmas morning. What would it be? Tony, would you like a pain au chocolat?
I'll have a nice black coffee with you, Vince.
Certainly.
Mate, close your dressing gown. It's poking it.
I'm sorry, man. You're having another
bottom.
You're having another naked Christmas, are you, Tony?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that what we're doing?
Nice warm. The radiators are on. I feel fine. I feel quite comfortable.
I mean, the heating bill's going to be mad, but at least we're all right.
You can't see anything because of all the body hair.
Look at that, mate. Look at that gooch sweating.
What's Dan doing?
There's me rooting through under the presents.
What's he got there in his hand? What's he got in his hand?
Dan,
take it out and go, oh, what could this be? And then I look at the label and it says from Mr. B. Dutcher. And Happy Christmas every year, B. Dutcher. I wonder what this could be. And then rip it. Oh, fizz again. Oh, brilliant.
Oh, what a nice surprise. What a lovely surprise.
Hey, that's nice.
And then the Christmas music plays. You look out the window and it's begun to snow. And we all hug each other and begin to sing.
Dan's really awkward because me and Tony are in a state of undress.
I'd imagine
Vince is poking out of his dressing gown and I'm just bang ass
hoisting on your shoulders and I walk around the neighbourhood like beers above my shoulders.
Copy of beers,
fucking yes.
Yeah. We better not walk around the neighbours, Tony. We better get dressed.
Well, I'm on his shoulders. My ball's against his ears.
Oh my God. You can feel it against the back of your neck.
Oh, look, that kid's got a full Wookiee cosplay uniform.
Why has he got a weird wig? He's got a weird wig on.
Hey, he took his Ewok out with him.
There's feet sticking out of that wig. That made quite a beautiful story.
That was.
I can see Netflix listening to that. That made a good series.
Yeah.
They think, fuck a wonderful life. That's more heartwarming story.
Yeah, every time a bell rings, Tony gets a boner.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's a wonderful life for the boomer generation. I don't know.
Dear.
We got any shout outs?
Anyway, shout out. Yes, thank you again for Reg for joining us for that fun little exercise. As you can tell, we're high off that moment of talking about loads of fantastic comics. So it's now time to do some shout outs. What we got? I mean, we do have something to talk about, don't we? Just briefly.
We've got a somber one.
Yeah. Do you want to mention it, Dan?
There was the bad news, tragic news, awful fucking news earlier this week about George Perez. He was diagnosed with, what was he diagnosed with? That's really bad of me. But essentially, he was given like not a great deal of time left to live.
6 months, I think.
6 months. Right? Yeah. 6 months prognosis, and it's been such a strange event because people are sort of celebrating the man's life work, and he's still got.
Yeah, it feels weird, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does feel weird.
And he is really a formative artist, isn't he? He's one of those formative artists.
He's a fucking titan, man.
Him, Byrne,
titan.
Kirby. There's these people who we just saw all the time. We just saw their work all the time, whether it be at Marvel, DC, or elsewhere. He's some of my favourite comics ever drawn by him.
Yeah.
Some of the anecdotes from the people in the ACP Slack group who have met the man said he's genuinely nice, a really nice bloke.
I met at MCM, had a picture with him, and he was just busy explaining to a cosplayer that he'd actually created the character, and they didn't know who he was. And I thought, oh my god, my heart fell, and I ran over and made where I was with. Well, somebody from Nobrow made them take a picture of me with him, and it's still one of my favourite pictures. What I do.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What a nice bloke.
Yeah. Truly one of the greats, and without a doubt, they will be unequalled in terms of what would you call them? Like it's not a jam piece, but like no one can draw like a million.
The ensemble, like
characters.
the Avenger ensembles, like there's all the characters coming out.
Yeah.
No one has ever come close to doing what he can do.
There's something superhuman about him when he does that.
I would say because like there's obviously been like posters and all kinds of covers and stuff. I would say that because of that, people have stared at those covers for longer. I would argue that some people have probably stared at some of his artwork more than any other comic book.
Well, you look at it wasn't just the covers. You look at some of the issues of when he did the Avengers, Kurt Busiek, or when he did Crisis, or War of the Gods, and all that sort of thing. The interiors had fucking thousands of people on the page.
Yeah. And of course, like Teen Titans, forget about it. Do you know what I mean?
I loved that series, man.
That
and the X-Men and the Legion was what a jam that was of mine at the time. I just loved it. Yeah, still really readable as well.
So very tragic news, but obviously wish the best for him and his family, and hearts go out to him. But what a legacy! What an absolute legacy!
Yeah.
It's. If there's one thing about it, we're going to see a lot more people posting his artwork, and hopefully,
there's a lot of people saying these are the covers I enjoyed and stuff like that.
I mean, not just that. I hope he's. I mean, I don't know what the medical situation is like over there, but hopefully they're
support
okay.
him.
Yeah, they get the support they need because, I know.
Yeah, he's bought a lot of people have bought their houses off the back of the stuff he's done.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have to lift a finger. He shouldn't have to pay a bill. I think hopefully it's covered. Yeah.
So our hearts go out to the Perez family, but so take a moment to look at some of George's work, and express your love for it. So that was sad news. What other shouts we got? We normally have a couple.
I think that's all I've got actually. Then sadly, Chris Achilles passed this week as well, didn't he? And probably known for a lot of his Doctor Who covers, but he did a lot of heavy metal stuff as well. A lot of fancy work.
Some of his Lord of the Rings type stuff. I've got a book of Chris's work, and I had
the Genesis of the Daleks book and paperback Target cover on my wall as a kid.
There was an image he posted up, and it's like, fuck me, that image is like synonymous with that brand, and I can't remember what it was. So I was like, bloody hell!
It was the dragon one thing? Is that? Although the heavy metal cover with the woman.
Yes, the heavy metal cover. That's it. That's like whenever I think whenever I think heavy metal, it's that image of
how many t-shirts that been on. Yeah,
loads.
Yeah,
amazing stuff. Such a rich legacy these people are going to leave behind.
If only anyone out there currently could be so lucky as to have the sort of creative legacy that some of these people do. So but like I know we've recommended a lot. We're going to do a couple more quick ones to send you off into the week. It's been a fun little episode, this one, before we ride into, and we've got a couple more fun episodes coming up, which we'll talk about in a bit. But let's just recommend a couple of quick little things to our lovely listeners to ride off into the sunset with. Who wants to go first?
You go first, Lee. Go on.
Yeah, you go
okay,
first.
I'm going to talk about this one that was on my sort of radar for a little while, but I thought bubble. Tom the Legend Curry. The man, the legend, the fourth Beatle with us for the Thought Bubble weekend, gifted us a couple of books, very, very generous. He got me Volume 1 of Die, which is an image book, and I've got to make sure I get this right. Written by Kieran Gillen, artist was Stephanie Hans, Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Ryan Hughes is the designer. Chrissy Williams is the editor. This one is very much in that sort of, if you've got the tabletop gamer and stuff, and like D&D and things like that, of course I've been swallowed up by that world, but this is tied into that, but is also his own unique beast. As the back of the book says, this is volume 1 that he got me, because he was telling me about it, because I think he's a regular reader of it. I think is it just finished? I
was going to say, is it a limited series?
I think this one is 1 to 5. I think there's a couple of volumes though.
Right.
Forgive me, Tom. I'm blanking out because we were talking about it in the pub at Thought Bubble as well. Volume 1. In the 90s, 6 teenagers disappeared into a fantasy role-playing game. Only 5 returned. Nearly 30 years later, these broken adults are dragged back to discover the game isn't finished with them yet. Very much high concept, very very sort of relevant with the crowd that are into like tabletop role playing and stuff, but definitely tells it's a very introspective look at people that are dealing with this sort of post trauma. In some ways, it's got that sort of it follows the same template with it. The kids have this horrible experience when they're young, and they come back to sort of connect with it again. It's a dark book. I mean, you may think, oh yeah, they played a game when they were young. This is a dark and serious book, and looking back at sort of lives that have forever changed. I mean, one of the characters goes into the starts off the story, and they all disappear into the game. Like the Jumanji sort of thing. They disappear in the game and they've got to survive. But if that was real and things were fucking horrible and had lasting consequences, one of the characters comes out and they're missing an arm because they lost it in the game, and one of them dies, or so they think. And they have to go back in. They go back into this game, and of course, in the 30 years, they've obviously had to get over it and live their lives. But that fantasy world that they were in has kept moving. It has kept going on. So whereas you think when you do these things, it's the consequences of your actions and your choices within these sort of games and roles, and they're all about like choice and consequence. And this is very much, they did things when they were there, and some of those things are coming back to haunt them, or there are repercussions of things. It's this one, the first volume is called Fantasy Heartbreaker. It collects issues 1 to 5, critically acclaimed. It was what I'm going to get the other volumes, because also Stephanie Hand's artwork's beautiful. It's got a very it's very sort of digital sort of painterly sort of work, but it's very much in atmosphere and lighting. There's very much that things almost have a glow about it, and from blues, yellows, reds, and whether it's monsters or just street lights, just wonderfully evocative, puts you directly in the sort of situation, and and it's epic in scale as well. Like there's some wonderful sort of splash pages, as well as being, this is a book full of personal moments and characters talking to each other and having to deal with trauma and tough choices. So it's wonderfully done. It's one of the, I don't know why I sat on it for so long. We've all got those books, haven't we, that we've heard about, but we haven't got around to reading. But
mate, so many.
Yeah, I'm glad that Tom got this one for me, because I'm going to read the rest of them as well. And I think the design of that, because Die always struck me because it's got a very graphical element on its covers. There's sort of two designs. There's sort of a jagged sort of design crossing. There's two images that sort of merge, and as the shape crosses over the top, it changes what's behind it. But correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I believe that the shape of the design is a 20-sided dice that's just almost been folded out into lots of little triangles and stuff.
I get you. I wonder what that was.
I think that's what it is. If you origamied a 20-sided dice, do you know what I mean, and you had it flat in front of you, I believe that's what it's like. Yeah, lovely design. So I nerded out over that as well. So yeah, that's mine. Die, Volume 1. So okay, who wants to go next?
Dan?
Yeah, I've another. Tom brought me this Thought Bubble, and that's Volume 1 of Dune, the prequel series by Brian Herbert, Kevin J. Anderson, Dev Pramanik, and Alex Gurames. And you said Tony, that this is based on some of Herbert's notes.
And written by his son and Kevin Anderson as well. Yeah.
So essentially,
it's a novel.
It's a prologue to what happens in the first Dune book.
Yeah,
where you see like I
think it's the first of 3. So I've just received the last issue through my pull list for that series, and then it will go on to. I think it goes on to House Harkonnen. I think off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah. So is it House Atreides, House Harkonnen, and then
I can't remember what's the last one. Caladan.
I can't remember.
What's the name of the house the Emperor has?
God. Ordos. No. Not Ordos.
I can't remember. It's the third one. Yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, you see all the characters as younger people. You've got the story follows all of them essentially, and what they get up to. The Baron, Duke Leto, and in the original book, they refer to past events. Like there's a big history between Leto and the Baron Harkonnen. They've done something like they really hate each other. There's a real kind of something's gone on in their past, and this series, I believe, goes on to sort of try and fill in a bit of that knowledge and see where that conflict arose from. And it's really interesting. There's the bit, and I knew this, but I don't know where it's mentioned, that the Reverend Mother Guy and Helen Moem, whatever her surname is, she sleeps with the Baron, and that's Jessica. Her daughter. She's Jessica's mother, and I can't remember where I've read that before, but it's sort of that happens in this book.
Oh, right. Do you get Ix in that book as well? I like that sequence. Yeah,
Leto goes to Ix and
escapes it really, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, you could go into this and you wouldn't have to know too much about Dune, and you could kind of get into it. The only thing that might puzzle readers if they've come from the films is that
Liet Kynes is in it, isn't he?
Yeah, Liet Kynes is a white guy, but he seems to be sort of having. They set up a romance with a black lady, and that's reversed in the films. Yeah, so that might cause.
That's quite a big part of the prequels, is that because the story in the first Dune book is that he's gone ahead, isn't he? He works for.
He's working for the Emperor. It's like and think
he falls in love with a Fremen woman, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes native. Like he kind of realizes that this planet is fucking great, and all these people are fantastic, and the Harkonnens are real nasty bastards, and falls in with the Fremen, and so it's kind of like a dual allegiance thing going on. But there's a lot with the characters of Dune. It kind of their sex and race, whatever, doesn't really matter. It's kind of such strong
motivations
characters.
And politics.
That's more what the kind of. Obviously, it matters when you're giving birth to sons and daughters, because the Bene Gesserit are trying to breed the Kwisatz Haderach, which is like the mankind's super being. And they fuck up their generation. They think there's one generation ahead, and he's one more generation on, don't they? We're just talking Dune here, not even talking about the comics. But I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to get the rest.
So I think it's 3. They're putting him into 3 hardbacks, I think.
Right.
So there is there's a Sardaukar standalone issue as well, which comes in the middle of it, and I'll be interested to see if they put that in the hardback as well. So I think that might be in the 3rd one. It's a sort of almost like a standalone story about a single Sardaukar soldier who goes through training, which is really good. Actually,
quite like the throat singing, don't we?
We love the throat singing. Yeah.
Because in this book, he says like he spends Liet Kynes spends some of his time on Seleucia Secundus, which is like the Sardaukar homeworld, which is almost as brutal as Arrakis, and that's why the troops there are so fucking rock hard. Is because if you come up from the planet and you survive, you're an ultra hard bastard. So by the time you go into military training, you're like elite.
They show that quite well in the new film, don't they? You go to the Sardaukar planet, don't you? Yeah, which is quite good. Yeah. Sorry, talking boring Dune for people who don't like Dune, but there you go.
So that's a good one. Check it out if you've not got a book lined up for the Christmas Eve readathon.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah,
get that.
Great.
Shall I do mine?
Yes.
Take it away.
Let me before I start. Can I ask each of you what your favourite Carry On movie is?
That's a good one. I think it's Carry On Up the Khyber.
How did they get away with that title, though?
Yeah.
Carry On
The
Screaming.
amount of...
I think mine's Carry On Screaming.
Yeah.
I think
That's
it
a good
started my sort of long-term fixation with ladies who look a bit like the woman in that one, who's kind of part Vampirella. You know?
Oh, yeah, good shout. I always feel like the editors of the Daily Mail, whenever they think of like someone in ISIS or Al-Qaeda, they always think of Bernard Bresslaw shouting infidels, like that's what they picture.
And for the Americans,
Carry on.
Up the Khyber means carry on up the arse. So there you go. So
they make that joke one or two times in
the I don't suppose anyone would have said Carry On Cthulhu, because that's what we're going to talk about. So it's a book I just received today. I got the digital copy of it yesterday, and I received the physical copy of it today. Nice out the blocks, quick Kickstarter.
Love that.
35 pages, black and white interiors, created by Graham Puttock, and published by Don't Look Now Comics. The cover shows a sort of sea of tentacles coming up from the ground, surrounding an old house. But the heads in movie poster style round it are Sid James, Kenneth Williams, Barbara Windsor, Hattie Jakes, Jack Douglas, and Kenneth Connor. It's a story that features those characters and many, many more other familiar people in a story. And what it does is it shows a story in a number of ways. So they are, in part of the story, the cast of a movie, this aforementioned Carry On Cthulhu, that they think is being made. And they're on the set, and Kenneth Williams is complaining to Charles Hawtrey about the script not being good, and Charles Hawtrey is saying, well, at least we're getting paid. And Sid James plays HP, which he spells H-H-A-I-G-H-T, HP Lovecraft. Call me HP, darling, he says to Barbara Windsor, who's playing a character called Sonia Lapp. And they so there is this film being made, and you see this dual sort of working of the story. So you get the reality of them on the set, and they're arguing over what they're having for their lunch, the craft services equivalent, and in the bar at night in the hotel. But you also get the movie, which is shown in panels that are surrounded by the tape at the side of a movie, with the holes in it. I'm not sure what you call it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that. It's almost displayed a bit like that. And it flips between the two very cleverly. The cast bicker. There's but then slowly strange things happen. So you get Kenneth Williams a bit pissed, walking back along the corridor to his room in the the old school hotel. There's all the cast are staying in and smoking and drinking light and bitters and sort of thing. And he comes across a merman type character who he thinks is a stuntman dressed up still, and he says, "Is that you, Alan?" or something, and you get the sense that probably not, is it? It's a bit too convincing for a Carry On movie, that. And so things start happening. There's a couple of massive rats that begin to infest the set, and it's not quite right. Frankie Howard's going, "What are all these rats doing on the table?" Or he's trying to eat his lasagna for lunch on the set. And I'll be honest with you, I back this purely on the name alone. I think probably a lot of people. It was just a fun cover, and as you all know, I'm a big fan of the Carry On movies and Sid James especially. And I just thought, okay, it's good. It works well for me. I think we benefit. We were talking a bit about this before we came on, but we benefit a bit with the Carry On characters because there's so much been written, so much been shown, and we've all seen all these Carry On films every Christmas, haven't we? Or whenever it is, and Sunday afternoon, rainy Sunday afternoon as a kid. We're so familiar with them as people. We're so familiar with them as the characters they portray because they all play the same, don't they?
Essentially, yeah.
You could be, a Frankenstein, or you could be, living on the Costa del Sol, and Kenneth Williams will still be the same person, won't he? He's the same character, as with Sid James. And there's a couple of moments where even though he's playing H.P. Lovecraft, he's "Cool, blimey, darling," there's all this sort of thing going on with him, in someone's chest. So I think you walk into it, and there's no need to establish character for this because we all know who they are, and it gives it a certain vibe. But what Graham does is he plays with that, he twists it a bit. So you get almost by the end of it, I won't spoil it completely, but one of the characters at near the end of it reminded me of suddenly we've got a Carry On actor is moving into the area of being John Constantine, but retaining that humorous nonsense that we get out of the Carry On. It's cleverly
really
done. Yeah, I really liked it. as he gets the dialogue spot on, all the dialogue spot on. I think probably my only trouble with it is a little bit too photorealistic. There's a lot of faces that you go, I know exactly where they got that from. You know, I know exactly what movie, you know, what Shutterstock picture on, you know, that you got that from. But then what are you going to do? It's Sid James, it's Kenneth Williams, it's Hattie Jakes. What are you going to do? You know, there's another way to do it. It actually reminded me a little bit of Strangehaven by Gary Spencer Millage, which I think is high praise. I actually really like the Strangehaven series. And he uses a lot of real people as actors that he then draws. There's variant covers by Adam Jakes and another one by Simon Daniels. And give it a go. It's just come through on Kickstarter, I'm sure. If you go to the website, you'll be able to find it. But Graham Puttock is on Facebook, I know. He's Graham, Graham, Puttock, Puttock. I'm sure you can find him on social media and get yourself a copy. I spilt some light and bitter on the cover of mine, so it's got a bit of a brown stain, but other than that, it's all right. But yeah, I like it. It's an interesting dynamic that he plays with. That I've actually read it twice now, which is unusual.
Okay.
To read a comic so much, you know. Nice. What are you going to say, Dan?
It's working for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good. That's my one, guys.
Nice. Real. So there you go. An enormous list of books for you to go for, research, check out, and more. And we hope you enjoyed this week's episode. It's another fun one to put in the books. We've got some more fun turning up, including a look back on the year that was. And we've got to start making our lists. And
so we're doing top 3, aren't we? Is that right?
Yeah. So we're going to have some, not in any order, I don't think. But as always, we mix up the format a little bit with our sort of fave picks of the year. So look forward to that. Even more to add to your wish lists. And including us looking back and going, shit, did that come out this year?
No. Or suddenly going, no, this came out 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Christ. Yeah, as well as other things that we're looking forward to. So stay tuned with us. If there's anything you want us to mention, perhaps there's some other comic stores out there that have got some fun Christmas stuff happening. Let us know, and we'll give a shout out in the shout outs, etc. Or other events for the new year and onwards. Please let us know. There's several different ways you can do it. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @TheAwesomePod, where we'll probably be posting up some spicy gifts as we get ready for our end of year quiz, etc., etc. And if you do the Book of Faces, go to facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast. Join the community group Awesome Comics Talk, where there's a great community of people. We talked a lot about the comics community today, but definitely there's a great community of people over on Awesome Comics Talk, as well as on the Awesome Comics Podcast Slack channel if you want to get involved on that. Get in
New
touch
members
with us
this week already. Yeah. It's going well.
So get in touch with that, because on both of those there's art threads, there's discussion threads. There's no hard selling. There's no nasty people tolerated. This is it's just nothing but wonderful people who are supportive of each other, and most importantly, love comic books.
I didn't know we had a promo thread till Wednesday.
See, there you go.
I just wasn't in on it. So when someone said, "Oh, no one posted in the promo thread," I was like, "Oh fuck me, I didn't even know there was one." Yeah. And so I spammed that immediately from my shit.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to us, whether it was on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps get the word out about the show. It really does matter. Algorithms and all that. I don't know how it all works. It's all techie and stuff. And Tony's the most technologically advanced of the show, so have a think about that. And if you listen to us on any other networks, such as Spotify, thank you very much. If we were in your best of, your what do they call it? Wrapped, isn't it? The Spotify Wrapped.
Okay, that's very cool.
If we were your favourite podcast of the year, thank you very much. You're our favourite person of the year as well. We love you.
Yay.
And if you listen to us on other networks like Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife, what other networks are we on, Tony?
We're also on the famous Pod. Give him the old dick twist.
Yes. Do it.
Twist that dick.
These are all jokes that happen off. Although you might hear a little bit about that after the show. So yeah, I caught a little bit of that audio. So just so there's a reference. Oh my god, this is an MMA fight, dude. Twist that dick. Twist this dick. So there you go.
Giving the old dick twist.
I mean, whatever you do at Christmas, just be careful.
Yeah, don't twist too many dicks.
Don't twist. No.
But we hope you're happy and healthy and doing okay, because it's like in the UK it's a bit mad at the moment. So just look after yourselves and be careful, because we all love you. If you want to follow us online, etc., where can people find us, Tony?
Patreon.com/tribute press, where we're running Fur. Seems to be getting really nice reception, and rightly so, because
it's awesome.
Daryl has worked his arse off on that one.
Awesome. Dan?
You can find me patreon.com/Vanguard Comic, where I'm posting up stuff from Viper and started musing on.
He started
superhero
musing
stuff.
and you should read it, folks. It's great. So, yeah, and you can find me on the socials at Jester Diablo. And once again, we're going to put out this shout out. Please support your independent comic book stores, rather than the big chains, etc. Go forth, because they're full of lovely people.
Place to buy a present.
Yeah, they're full of lovely people that are there to help you out and will go the extra mile if, like, Reg or the guys from OK Comics, etc., are any example. So so look forward to more comic shop talk in the new year as well, because that's always fascinating to know, and it's always lovely talking to people who love comics when they're in the shop as well, because it's not just a job, it's a way of life, isn't it, guys?
Yep.
Eat, sleep, breathe, live comics.
I mean, Tony is going to sleep as I talk. Unbelievable.
Keep going. I'm almost there.
Oh God, too soon. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Have a lovely week. We hope you're doing okay, because we all love you. Even Tony, he's falling asleep, but he still loves you. He'll probably dream about you. And
we're like, fuck.
Dan, well, were you what?
Well, I might do. I might be available for all sorts of things.
There you go. From Dan, Tony, and myself, have a brilliant week. Stay safe and healthy, and read loads of comics and make loads of comics. And as always, what should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
I thought
you were going
to talk about twisting dicks again.
Always do.
Give him the old dick twister.
Oh my God, man.
Oh my God, this is MMA. Bye, everyone.
Bye.